You can ride hydrogen balloon to outer space for $125,000. Hello lovely YouTube family, welcome back to Trending Tech. In today's video we're going to talk about how you can ride a hydrogen balloon to outer space for $125,000. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so you never miss out on any of our videos. If you've ever dreamed of snapping a selfie, sipping a cocktail, or even getting hitched while soaring through Earth's stratosphere, you might be in luck. This week, a new company, Space Perspective, announced plans to test out its commercial Spaceship Neptune beginning in early 2021. The company hopes to begin taking passengers into space in the next 3 years or so.
The race to give you and I an astronaut's view of planet Earth just got a little more crowded. But the latest company to throw their hat in the ring? They don't want to take you on a rocket. They want to do it on a balloon.
Reports William Hardwood for CBS News. After a devastating year of life on Earth, here's your chance to get far, far away from it all. For a mere $125,000, you too can purchase a trip to ascend from 20 miles into Earth's upper atmosphere on a board of luxurious space balloon. Space Perspective, a human spaceflight company in Florida, on Wednesday began selling tickets for its inaugural voyage way high into the sky at $125,000 a pop. The trip is scheduled for late 2024 aboard the Spaceship Neptune, a hot air balloon style craft lifted by hydrogen. Anyone interested in the trip must pay a $1,000 deposit. The ship, an enormous hydrogen-filled balloon with a small pressurized cabin hanging underneath, will carry research payloads, a pilot, and up to 8 paying civilian passengers into the stratosphere at a time, according to a statement. The entire journey will take about 6 hours, the company estimates. The balloon craft will rise about 12 miles per hour, cruise into the stratosphere for about 2 hours, then make its slow descent.
Helium also makes air balloons float up in the air. It's kind of a big deal because of how rare and non-renewable this gas is.
It'll float into the direction of the day's winds and splash down in either the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico, where it'll be fished out by a recovery boat, reports Mike Wall for Space.com. The company said it plans to send 8 passengers on a leisurely ascension into space from a launch pad at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, an excursion in which they will reportedly travel up to 20 miles above the Earth's surface for a profoundly life-changing experience. The Florida-based firm aims to usher in a new era in luxury travel experiences with their groundbreaking or air-breaking if you will tour aboard the Spaceship Neptune, a massive hydrogen-supported balloon with a passenger capsule in tow that can float atop Earth's atmosphere. There, amateur astronauts can soak up the splendor for our home planet thanks to panoramic windows and reclining seats. Throughout the 6-hour journey, all guests will enjoy the best reclining seats in the house to soak in a 450-mile, 360-degree view, an open call-on dress, champagne, and a bathroom, Space Perspective said in a press release. If liquid courage is called for, a bar and bathrooms of course are also built into the capsule compact design. Individual and group reservations are now open for the inaugural 2024 launch. Expected to take place at the NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, typical space flight places high demands on passengers and the planet as millions of pounds of fuel are required for the turbulent launches. Rather than bursting through the atmosphere at G-force speeds as rockets do, Spaceship Neptune offers a radically gentle voyage for guests aboard the 8-person capsules, designed to be tugged upward by 650-foot tall hydrogen-filled balloon, the most eco-friendly space travel option to date. During a video news conference last year, Space Perspective husband and wife CEO Jane Pointner and Tabor McCollum explained that Spaceship Neptune would spend about 2 hours reaching its maximum altitude of about 100,000 feet, 18 miles up for a trip lasting about 6 hours. Proof of concept came on June 18th after a successful test flight from the Space Coast Spaceport in Tuittsville, Florida. In the spite of the 1937 Hindenburg disaster which saw the hydrogen-filled Zeppelin explode, killing 35 people, Space Perspective insists that hydrogen was their only option. Helium has become quite difficult to obtain, said McCollum during a 2020 press presentation. It's used for a lot of medical practices and for launching rockets. The giant balloon floats thanks to hydrogen, not helium. Helium has become quite difficult to obtain, says Pointner's husband and other chief executive. Tabor McCollum, during a press conference, reports Wall, it's used for a lot of medical practices and for launching rockets.
In essence, what we do is take a capsule up with a balloon big enough to float on top of the Earth's atmosphere and then float there for a few hours and then gently float back down.
The cabin is reusable, but a new balloon will be needed for each trip. In a statement to the Post, Space Perspective assured that their space balloons, made of polyethylene with high tensile strength material, are modeled after those that NASA and other government agencies have flown for decades. Hydrogen is the gas of choice for balloonists around the world. There have been no recorded gas balloon flight failures caused by hydrogen going all the way back to the earliest flights in the 1700s, the company said. Hot air balloons today use either hydrogen or helium for initial liftoff, then are maintained by burning liquid propane, ergo hot air. Airships such as blimps and modern zeppelins now generally use helium instead of hydrogen. The space balloon is also inherently safer than rocket flight, the company said. There have been no recorded space balloon accidents involving humans and no failures in almost 100 flights, conducted with space balloon designs and the match that of Space Perspective's Spaceship Neptune. Space Perspective emerges at a time when many others rush to compete, including some of the world's top air travel companies, such as Virgin Galactic and Boeing. The competitive $125,000 price is a fraction of the $28 million bid for a spot on the maiden voyage of Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' commercial spaceflight Endeavour, set for liftoff July 20th. Space Perspective insists that theirs is a different sort of experience, combining innovation with the ease of luxury travel. Aerospace entrepreneurs Jane Poitner and Tabor McCollum founded Space Perspective in 2019 with the stated goal of helping more people see Earth from its upper atmosphere. The company said it completed successful test flight of the space balloon in Tuittsville, Florida earlier this month. The 650-foot tall balloon will lift off from leased facilities at NASA's Kennedy Space Center and gently rise to the stratosphere. About 19 miles above Earth's surface, not technically outer space, but high enough to see the curvature of the Earth and the darkness of space stretching out beyond. It's so gentle, Jane Poitner, co-chief executive of Space Perspective, tells Kenneth Chang of the New York Times. It's much less dramatic than a rocket-based flight. I know there's a lot of people that either cannot or don't want to go on the rocket, but they really want to go to space. We're committed to fundamentally changing the way people have access to space, both to perform much-needed research to benefit life on Earth and to affect how we view and connect with our planet, said Poitner last year. This is really what this is all about, she added. Everybody should be able to see the Earth from space. There will be a captain on board and passengers won't require specialized training before liftoff. At its highest altitude, Spaceship Neptune will allow passengers to see the curvature of the Earth against the backdrop of the sun, the company said. Customers will still need to afford the tickets, which the company estimates will cost roughly $125,000 a pop. This price tag is relatively cheap compared to $250,000 price tag on Virgin Galactic rocket trip, or the tens of millions of dollars that a handful of wealthy people have spent to visit the International Space Station. Still, Space Perspective has a long way to go towards making its plans a reality, as Chang reports. Many commercial space life companies have made big promises over the years, but progress is slow and the market remains relatively untapped. Poitner and McCollum plan to create a similar commercial space tourist flight with the company Worldview in 2013, but those plans never materialized, Chang reports. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's SpaceX is preparing the world's first all-civilian crew aboard its Falcon 9 rocket later this year, with funds raised from seats sold going to benefit St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Tours to the International Space Station will commence at $55 million per tourist next year, and in 2023, a SpaceX Starship led by Japanese billionaire Yusaku Masaue, who put up an undisclosed amount of money for 6 seats on the spacecraft, is heading to the moon. Elon Musk SpaceX has already sold tickets for a private 10-day space launch ride to the International Space Station. That trip is slated to launch later this year. Tickets sold for $55 million each. A 2019 UBS analysts projected space tourism will be valued at $3 billion by 2030. The larger space industry is expected to be worth $805 billion by that same year, UBS says. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any amazing video from us.